Wow, straps. Wow.
Hello, everybody. My name is Calvin Nullum. Welcome to the special episode of the Teachsimple podcast. I have one of my best friends. His name is Gleny Sosa. Gleny Sosa is a Marine, and he also specializes in weaponry. He's going to talk about specifically how his experience with weaponry gets an application with drones. So, big issue or big lesson in my class right now. We're talking about drones and just the significance of them. And I think drones, especially today with delivery service being a really big influx of how we get materials and food and resources, drones can definitely be an application for that. And so Glenn is here to give his expert point of view. He's going to school us just on, his experience, what he's learned, and also talk about, certain teacher styles because he's also an instructor. And we're going to just kick it. All right. So let's introduce again my man, Gleny Sosa. What's up, brother, man?
Yeah, what's up, brother, man? Thank you for that lovely introduction. Way you brought me out like that.
How I do?
That was good. That was good. I wasn't
Oh,
expecting all that, but I appreciate it. Well, hello everybody. My name is Gleny Sosa. Very good friend of Calvin since the teenager days. Like Calvin said, I spent a couple years in the Marine Corps, about 8 years. Deployed everywhere between Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Jordan, Kuwait. So I've been everywhere. Done a little bit of everything, seen a little bit of everything, especially when it comes to weaponry and explosives, which I specialize while my time in the Marines. I was part of an elite group called Explosive Ordnance Disposal Technicians, which essentially is the military version of the bomb squad. So
cool.
we do a lot of things between ordnance, homemade explosives, um, a little bit of nukes, chemical weaponry,
Hmm.
um, anything that goes boom, we have some domain in it. So hopefully I can bring my knowledge and skill set to you guys so you guys can learn a thing or two.
Excellent, excellent. And I want to just preface this, Glenny. Every time you give me like an acronym, just spell it out perfectly how you did there. Okay. So I know there's a lot of PEDs and GEDs and all,
Yeah.
all those things.
I
Please
got
make
you,
sure
brother.
you spell those out so our scholars can definitely do the research on those fields. All right. Cool. So let's
Absolutely,
get started.
absolutely.
So you work for the military. Talk about what branch of the military you work for, and then also talk about just why did you choose that branch in particular versus the others.
Okay. So spent 8 years in the Marine Corps. To be honest with you, it's something that I kind of had thought about, but until a recruiter hit me up, which happened to be the Marine recruiter, I had never really considered going to the military. I was more focused on school, but at that point in time, I was like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I talked to the Marine recruiter, and he kind of sold on to me like, "Hey, this is going to be the toughest branch. It's going to be the hardest one." So I'm all about challenges and challenging myself. I always like to push myself. So how he sold it to me is like, "Hey, if you want an experience that's definitely going to push you to your limits, this is the branch to be in." So I joined that. I did first 4 years as a combat engineer, basically a little bit of explosives, a lot of construction stuff like that. And on my second tour, I got to work with the EOD techs, explosive ordnance disposal technicians,
Mm-hmm.
kind of hand in hand, and that kind of like really intrigued me. And in the Marines, you have to be at least a sergeant, and then you got to try out to be on the bomb squad. And it's about like a
Okay.
year. It's a year process. First you get selected, and then you got to go to school. And the school is the second hardest Department of Defense school behind counterintelligence, with only 60% of the whole class graduating. So pretty
Oh,
intense after
so
that.
repeat that last part one more time.
So explosive or disposal technician school is the second hardest Department of Defense school in the nation behind counterintelligence, with
Wow.
only 60% of the students actually graduating from school.
Okay. Dope.
So
Dope.
yeah, so
Smart.
it's yeah, I mean try, like it's just one of those things you got to really apply yourself to, and if you want it, you're gonna put the time and all the studying and stuff, just
And
in any type of academic um structure.
and how does the Marine Corps compare to other branches of military?
So the Marine Corps is more of that rugged and tough, very hands-on type of branch. Out of all the branches, we are definitely the most strict, definitely the more physically pushed. Every branch kind of brings its own piece to the table. That's why whenever we deploy anywhere in any country, it's always Marines pushing through. President needs the Congress and everything to kind of send troops in. However, the
Yeah.
Marines fall directly under the executive branch, so he can push us anywhere he wants at any time without the permission of any other branch. So
Wow.
we're the smallest of the branches, but we're also, as far as physical abilities, we're kind of pushed to a different level. But you start talking about other resources, and then we start tapping to Navy and Air Force, which has a little bit more funding and can provide those support for us.
Okay, and then what are the other branches? You said Marines. That's what you're in, and then what
Yeah.
else?
So there's the Navy,
Hmm.
mostly focused on water type of warfare. Air Force, pretty obvious. Air
Yeah.
combat, and then the Army, which mostly focuses on the ground, but they are big in numbers. So talk about bringing the fight with a lot of mass and a lot of numbers behind it. That's what you want to bring, and then your Coast Guard as well, which is kind of like your home-ish type of
Oh,
military asset.
so it sounds like your education being the kind of the people who protect the president, so like the first to go. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
essentially.
That means that your education has to be very, very comprehensive and very advanced. So not only you have a good a proficiency in reading and writing and analytical and critical thinking skills, you also have a set of skills where you can build and create stuff and move things forward systematically, all the while you lead and be a leader for your people. Is that, would you say that's like kind of a necessity to be a Marine?
Absolutely. To a certain degree, depending on what kind of job, every job has a purpose, right? So the main job is the infantrymen, the ones that are actually completing the mission. Every other job, even to include my prior job, is supporting that mission, right? So
Okay.
supporting the infantrymen, whether it's medical assets or the explosive guy to take care. Sorry about that.
Yep.
So to take care of those explosive hazards that they come into, we all support that mission in some way, shape, or form. So to a certain extent, depending how intricate your job is, and that's why you have tryout processes and stuff like that. That's why we have a school to see if you fit well into that community. But for what I do and for a various number of other jobs, yes, you do need to have that critical thinking type of
Yeah.
mindset. You got to be able to think outside of the box a lot. And the Marine Corps in general kind of pushes you to that. They'll give you a mission and then they'll give you like a backpack, some sticks, a lighter, and then like figure it out. And once you get put in those situations, you do figure it out, with little to no resources. And that's what I think it sucks while you're in it, but pushing on forward, you become very, very, very resourceful, and being able to critically think is like second nature.
Amazing, y'all. We have a comprehensive learner here, and this guy is here to give you the P's and Q's, so please listen up. So, last question before we move on to drones, because that's what we're here for. What advice would you give to high schoolers who are considered the military, or
So
might be interested but not really sure if they should use that as a route?
yeah, definitely. Definitely. I'm gonna say the military is not for everybody. It definitely was for me, just because I just needed a little bit more discipline, a little bit more structure before I went to college. A big thing for me for pursuing my educational achievements and goals was funding. As we all
Mm.
know, the debt for college funding is really big and it's only getting bigger. So for
Yeah,
me, is I did not want to have that burden on me. The military does provide free school while you are in, and then when you get out, you get about 4 years of academic scholarships. One, it gets your school gets paid for, and two, you get paid for about 4 years worth of school, depending where you live. I since I'm in California, I get paid about close to $3,000 a month just
yeah,
for every month that I'm in school, not to include what I get from my job and other incomes. So um, I definitely recommend it to anybody who's kind of lost, or if you are in a place where you're not financially capable. Definitely ask questions. Reach out to those recruiters. Like at
yeah.
the end of the day, it's you who signs that paper. So there's nothing wrong with you asking and trying to get some more information of what you want to accomplish. And you might end up liking it. You
Right.
might only. My original plan was to only do 4 years. Get a deployment in and then go right back to school. But I ended up liking it so much that I did another 4 and then pursued a different challenge, and I was the best decision of my life. I got out of the Marine Corps after 8 years, and now I'm a government contractor as an instructor, still teaching for the Marine Corps. But now I get to have more time to focus on those school goals that I kind of put down on a list for myself years ago.
Excellent, man. So, Bill Gates said drones overall will be more impactful than I think people recognize in positive ways to help our society. Now, when I read that quote, I think about when people talk about how we used to fight wars, okay? And how it went from like, man-to-man combat to aerial, where we discovered, how to create projectiles or firearms. And then now we went to this information age. Now we have technology and we have these technological wars. And we primarily use drones for that. Could you maybe talk about like the history on why we decided to go from like a traditional World War II type style of combat to more of a technological focus?
Yeah, definitely. No, absolutely. And simple way to just keep it down and dirty, man, is technology, man. The advancement of technology, like you said, we went to hand combat. Let's trace all the way back to the Revolutionary War. Like muskets and packing the thing with gunpowder. Now, as technology advances, the whole world advances, medical, school, but so will war. People will find ways to keep their actual troops safe. As technology advances, if I don't have to put 10 troops down and can accomplish the same mission with one drone flying in the air, that drone can get blown up and I can still keep these lives. At the end of the day, everybody's trying to protect the lives of their troops, and it just boils down to technology, man. As it advances, warfare will change. It will adapt and adapt and adapt, and it's always going to adapt as far as we keep moving in the right direction, and just like anything, like as war adapts, medical resources adapt, classroom type of settings will adapt. I'm sure within this pandemic, you've kind of figured out that you can teach from a different type of platform.
So they figured out they could fight or have war on a different type of platform as well.
Exactly, and more effective, if anything.
Wow, straps. Wow.